Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस AC भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 6, Text number 49. Chapter title Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva. So let's repeat. Bhavam stupumsa paramasya mayaya Bhavam stupumsa paramasya mayaya Durantaya sprishtamati samastadrik Durantaya sprishtamati samastadrik Taya hatatma svanukarma chetaha Taya hatatma svanukarma chetaha Harhasi Prabho Svanugraham kartumiharhasi Prabho Bhavam stupumsa paramasya mayaya Durantaya sprishtamati samastadrik Taya hatatma svanukarma chetaha Svanugraham kartumiharhasi Prabho. Bhavamstu pumsa paramasya mayaya Durantaya sprishtamati samastadrit Ahatatma svanukarma cheta Anugraham kartumiharhasi prabho. Bhavamstu pumsa paramasya mayaya Durantaya sprishtasmati samastadrik Swanugraham kartumiharhasi prabho. So in the Sanskrit text, when we see after the chetaha, the swa comes before the anugraham. So we recite it as Swanugraham kartum iharhasi prabhu. Bhavamstu pumsa paramasya mayaya Durantaya sprishtamati samastadrik Taya hatatma svanukarma chetaha Swanugraham kartumiharhasi prabhu. Let's do the word to word meaning. Bhavan, your lordship, tu, but, pumsaha, of the person, paramasya, the supreme, mayaya, by the material energy, durantaya, of great potency, asprishta, unaffected, mati, taya, by the same illusory energy, hata atmasu, bewildered at heart, anukarma chetasu, whose hearts are attracted by fruitive activities, anugraham, mercy, kartum, to do, iha, in this case, arhasi, desire, prabho, O Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My dear Lord, you are never bewildered by the formidable influence of the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you are omniscient and should be merciful and compassionate toward those who are bewildered by the same illusory end. Point 14. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. My divine energy, consisting of the three modes of material nature, can easily cross beyond it. A Vaishnava should take care of those who are bewildered by this Maya instead of becoming angry with them, because without a Vaishnava's mercy, they have no way to get out of the clutches of Maya. Those who have been condemned by Maya are rescued by the mercy of devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Those who are under the influence of the illusory energy are attracted to fruitive activities, but a Vaishnava preacher attracts their hearts to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Jai. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Bhuter Mahadbir Yaima Puro Vibhu Nirmaya Shethe Yadamushu Purusha Bhunkter Gunamsho Dashasho Dasatmaka Solang Krishishta Bhagavan vachamsi me. Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Katha Amritam Satatapi Bhatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panktanam Sarvalo. Again everyone to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'd like to begin by quoting His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj, who shared a very, very beautiful point at the start of his class last Sunday. So what did Maharaj say? Srimad Bhagavatam is instilling in us the how Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are acting in such an elegant way, kind of elegance. Sometimes even amongst devotees we see rough dealings because of their conditioning, but we want to cleanse it. By hearing the elegance of relationships in Bhagavatam, we get a higher vision. So Maharaj beautifully gave us an intro to what is happening here between Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So we are seeing how after the whole Daksha Yajna was devastated by the followers of Lord Shiva, after the insult to Lord Shiva by Daksha, and then after Mother Sati gives up her body, after all this happens, Lord Brahma along with all the demigods and the priests, they go to Kailash and forgive us. Please show us your compassion. And first Lord Brahma is glorifying the great qualities of Lord Shiva, who is such a great Vaishnava, who is constantly immersed in remembering the Supreme Lord within his heart. And after that, Lord Brahma is saying, that is in the previous verse we saw, how people may commit different offenses. Yes, there will be offenses. And why that happens? Because everyone is overcome by Maya. Everyone is under the jurisdiction, under the condition of the modes of material nature. Everyone is under the purview of the external energy of the Supreme Lord, and no one can escape that. That is, as long as we are all in this material world. Once we go to the spiritual world, it is all completely different, because everyone is engaged in the loving service of Krishna with complete purity in the spiritual world, that they are not touched by Maya. But as long as we are in this material world, we are all at different levels of purification. So it is said that when we are practicing bhakti, it is like we are under the shower. We are getting cleansed slowly, slowly. We are getting rid of our anarthas slowly, slowly. But in the meantime, what happens? There may be offenses between people, even between devotees, we can see that. But in all of this, what happens is we simply take the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet by offering our service to him. And when we do that, what happens? We come under the loving care and shelter and protection of Srimati Radharani. Then through Srimati Radharani's mercy, even though people are committing offenses, even though we are overcome by Maya, somehow Srimati Radharani holds our hand and she pulls us to Krishna, and she says, here is my devotee who is struggling so much, overcome by Maya, overcome by your external energy. Please take care of this dear devotee of yours. So then when Srimati Radharani recommends, then through Krishna's mercy, through Krishna's divine will, then we can cross over Maya with some hope. So in the purport to yesterday's verse, Srila Prabhupada was saying that it is very difficult for anyone to overcome the insurmountable external energy of the Lord. And therefore, a saintly person or a sadhu, out of one's compassion, forgives and does not show his prowess to counteract. So even though we may see that there are, some unpleasant things happening, what does a sadhu do? A sadhu just forgives. It's okay. This happens, but I can understand. I may be hurt, but I'm forgiving. So Srila Prabhupada says that the beauty of a tapasvi is forgiveness. And even Devamrit Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Devamrit Maharaj, was saying last week that the jewel of a devotee is etiquette. Or he said etiquette is the jewel of a devotee. And recently I was hearing in one of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhuji's talks, and he was also very beautifully saying that one's greatness is estimated
by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. So we can all make a note of this. One's greatness is estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations, which is what we are seeing in this pastime. So how much Lord Shiva was provoked by Daksha's exclusion of Lord Shiva from his sacrificial offerings, from the oblations that were offered in the sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva was excluded. Lord Shiva was not feeling welcome. But in spite of all this, Lord Shiva just walked away quietly. He did not respond. And then, now when Lord Brahma and all the demigods, when they are approaching Shiva, also shows his compassion without showing his prowess. Now, he is the greatest Vaishnava, and if he wants, he can do anything. But he just forgives Daksha and he shows his compassion in the next verses that we will see. So in today's verse, Lord Brahma is saying, "Oh dear Lord Shiva, you being such a great Vaishnava who knows everything, that is, you are omniscient, and you are unaffected, that is, asprishta, by the great potency, that is, durantaya, of the Lord's external energy. And therefore you have to be merciful towards those who are overcome by Maya." So in today's purport, Srila Prabhupada begins by saying that a Vaishnava is never bewildered by the influence of the external energy. It's engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So when one is constantly engaged in serving Krishna, when one is constantly engaged in devoting all our activities for the pleasure of Krishna, then Maya cannot bewilder such a person. Now, yes, in this material world, we will be touched by Maya, as we were discussing before, that we are all conditioned by material nature. No matter what our position is, in whatever varna we are in, Brahma, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, whatever classes of practice in our activities we may be in, whatever ashrams one may be in, that is, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha is the next. Sannyas we can't comment because there they are completely renounced. They have given up everything and they are completely devoted to the service of Krishna with a pure heart. Devotees like Srila Prabhupada, all his wonderful disciples, all the great acharyas, they are all completely renounced. Now, until we get to that stage, we are all in different levels of purity, which is what we saw. And as we are practicing bhakti, we are striving to attain that level of purity where we will be untouched by Maya. But until we get there, until we are subjected to the conditioning of the modes of material nature, that is, sattva, rajas, tamagunas, these are just pulling us like puppets. So as long as we are within this purview, all that we can do is simply run to Krishna's lotus feet. Take the association of devotees who are serving Krishna with such purity. So here, Srila Prabhupada in today's purport, he says that he quotes from Bhagavad Gita, the famous verse. We can all recite together. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. My divine energy, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So, in the purport to this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada explains that Sri Krishna has innumerable energies, and all of them are divine. So even the external energy of the Lord, that is Maya, is also divine. Even Maya, or the external energy of the Lord, is also eternal. Why? Because it is coming from Krishna. Now, all the energies of the Lord are eternal. Now, all of us are parts and parcels of Krishna. Now, what is the challenge? Now, both the material and the spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. Now, the living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord. So that is our original position. So the soul, being a part and parcel of Krishna, is actually completely spiritual in quality. But due to the influence of the external energy of the Lord, which is also eternal, which is also a part of Krishna, when that covers us completely, what happens? We forget the superior spiritual nature and our innate loving qualities, our innate loving devotion for Krishna. So we forget that we are spiritual internally. So when that happens, we are having this big covering around us that we are unable to cut through and cross over. So Srila Prabhupada explains that the inferior material nature is defined as divine nature, that is Daivi Hesha Gunamayi. And due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will, being conducted by the divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully. So even Maya acts so wonderfully because she is also acting as per the divine will of Krishna. So Krishna uses his external energy to also help us to then understand our relationship with Krishna. So when we are put in difficult situations, when we are constantly bombarded by different challenges in our life, we may be hurt, when certain things happen in our life, or sometimes when even within amongst devotees we can see when devotees neglect us, or when they don't care for us, when they don't offer their love for us. What happens? We do become hurt. But in all these situations, what do we realize? Okay, I'm being put in this situation because of my past karmic activities, because of my Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So simply by immersing ourselves in chanting, the Mahamantra simply by reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, simply by reading from Bhagavad Gita, associating with devotees, serving Krishna, taking up different sevas. What happens then? We are coming out of this conditioning that tries to control us so much, but we are trying to turn towards the Lord's superior energy, which is Hare in the Mahamantra, Srimati Radharani, who gives pleasure to, who is engaged in the loving service of Krishna, being empowered by Krishna, and who becomes an instrument of Krishna's mercy, can help those who are bewildered by Krishna's inferior energy. So Srila Prabhupada explains that because all of us are already conditioned and we are already bound, so it is said that we are Nitya Baddha, meaning we are bound by the ropes of material energy. Now, a person who is bound cannot liberate another person. Whereas the devotees, the pure devotees of the Lord, that is our Guru Parampara, through them and through Vaishnavas who are already in a liberated stage, because of their connection with Krishna in such a pure stage, such devotees can also help us to get liberated. Such devotees can help us to unwind ourselves from the rope of Maya. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone. And they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. So that is why Lord Brahma is now approaching Lord Shiva, who is such an exalted Vaishnava, who can fulfill the desires of everyone. So Lord Brahma is approaching Lord Shiva and saying, you are so compassionate, you are such an exalted Vaishnava, and therefore please forgive us. So we can also see all this in our practical experience, in our own life. So simply by hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is why we have Srimad Bhagavatam classes. We have Bhagavad Gita classes. So by narrating the pastimes of the Lord, by hearing about Krishna, what do? We are helping each other. We are helping each other to cross over Maya. Because we see that, as Srila Prabhupada is saying, that a Vaishnava preacher attracts the hearts of the bewildered souls to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So that is what is the Vaishnava's compassion. So on this note, we'll hear a little pastime of Jada Bharat. So we all know that Maharaj Bharat, that is King Bharat, who had renounced, who had given up everything, and he was practicing bhakti in his Pula ashram. And there once what happened, just by seeing a baby deer that had lost its mother, King Bharat became so compassionate. And what did he do? He started caring for the little baby deer. But in the process, because he didn't have the association of any other Vaishnavas around him, even such a person who was in such an exalted position was bewildered by Maya. He became so attached to the baby deer that when the baby deer grew up and left and ran away to the forest, Maharaj Bharat, thinking about the baby deer, he just left his body. He was saying, "Oh, my little baby deer, he's like my little prince. His footprints is spread all over the world, and now he's run away to the forest. What will happen to him?" Thinking like this, Maharaj Bharat left his body instead of thinking about Krishna at the time of leaving. So what happened? In his next birth, he got a deer's body. But then somehow by Krishna's will, even though he was in the body of a deer, he could remember his past activities. And therefore, in the body of his deer, he still, by bathing in the river Gandaki and by associating with sadhus, the deer, then by remembering Krishna, left his body. And then this soul in the next life became Jada Bharat, who was born in a very pious Brahmana family. Now, in this lifetime, what happened? This soul, that is Jada Bharat, became very, very careful. He became so cautious that he didn't want to get bewildered by Maya. So what did he do? He was acting like a dumb and a dullard person. He didn't want to associate with any non-devotees. He didn't want to associate with anyone who was not serving the Supreme Lord. He tried to keep himself aloof. And at this time, what happens? Once there's a great king called Rahugana who is passing by. And as the palanquin carriers, they are taking Rahugana, they find that they need one more strong person to carry the palanquin. So they call Jada Bharat, who is a very strong person who was just guarding the paddy field. So Jada Bharat says, "Okay, I will help you to carry." But Jada Bharat, because he was so cautious, he didn't want to even step on any ants that were on the ground. So he was, as he was carrying the palanquin, he was jumping this side and that side, this side and that side, like that. So what happened? Because of this, the palanquin was shaking. And King Rahugana became very angry. Who is this who's not carrying my wood? He starts chastising Jada Bharat. And then at that time, what happens? What does Jada Bharat say? Is true. Why? Because King Rahugana says, "Oh, you are so weak, you are so old, you are so thin and skinny. That's why you cannot carry the palanquin properly." Like this, King Rahugana is sarcastically, he is using harsh words against Jada Bharat. And therefore Jada Bharat in response says, "Whatever you have said is true. Yes, the load carried by the body is not mine, since I am the spirit soul. I have not labored carrying the palanquin, for I am detached from the body. The body may be fat or thin, but no learned man would say such things of the spirit soul. Fatness, thinness, bodily and mental distress, thirst, hunger, fear, disagreement, desires for material happiness, old age, sleep, attachment for possessions, anger, lamentation, illusion, and identification of the body with the self, all these relate to the material covering of the spirit soul, which is what we have been seeing today, the external energy of the Lord. And they affect a person absorbed in the material conception of life. But I am free from all bodily conceptions." Today you are king and I am your servant. But tomorrow the position might change and I might become your king. All this is temporary. I am a self-realized person, and even if you punish me, there will be no effect. Tell me, what can I do for you? So, on hearing Jadabharat speak like this, King Rahugana realizes, oh, this person is a very saintly person. I should not offend him. And therefore, King Rahugana falls at his lotus feet. And what does he say? Tanme bhavanara devabhimana madena tuchi krita sattamasya krishishta maitri drishamartha bandho yata tare sad avadhyanam amha. So King Rahugana says, O best friend of the distressed, I have committed a great offense by insulting you. I was puffed up with false prestige due to possessing the body of a king. For this I have certainly become an offender. Therefore I pray that you kindly glance at me with your causeless mercy. If you do so, I can be relieved from sinful activities brought about by insulting you. So this is what is the mood of Lord Brahma as well, along with all the devotees as they are approaching Lord Shiva. They have realized that they have insulted Lord Shiva, and now they are begging for Lord Shiva's forgiveness. So, what happens after hearing this? Jadabharat, he begins to instruct. And there he says, Bhratrivyam enam tadadhabraviryam upekshayadhye yaditam apramattaha guror haresh charano pasanastro jahi vyalikam swayam. So here Jadabharat says, this uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. If one neglects it or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious. Although it is not factual, it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the soul. O King, please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Do this with great care. So Jadabharat says that please be cautious. Don't let your mind become bewildered by Maya, but simply attach yourself to the lotus feet of Krishna with the weapon of devotional service. Now, how does Krishna help us to cross over Maya when we practice bhakti? So, what is the science behind it? Bhakti pareshanubhavo viraktir anyatra chaishatrika ekakalaha prapadyamanasya yatasnathasyus tushti pushti kshudapayonugasam. That is, when we keep serving Sri Krishna, what happens? Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. So these three things happen simultaneously. How? Just as when we take some food, what happens? Pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously. So when we are very hungry, As soon as we eat, what happens? First, our hunger goes away and we are nourished, and we also get the pleasure of eating that food. So, just like that, when we are overcome by the external energy of the Lord, when we are completely bewildered, or when we are put into very difficult situations, when we take to devotional service, what happens? We get relief from those difficult situations. That's the first thing. And also, we are nourished. We are taken care of by the loving devotees of the Supreme Lord. And along with them, we also experience the bliss and the ecstasy of serving Krishna. So, all these things happen simultaneously. So, His Grace Radhashyam Prabhuji was giving a very beautiful example, because I'm just sharing this example to say that as devotees also, when we are helping each other, when a devotee is completely ecstatic in serving Krishna, then everyone wants to associate with those devotees. But also at the same time, there are some challenges we might face. So how do we get past that? So Radheshyam Prabhuji was giving an example that there was one farmer who had a big well, and the well was full of water. And there were some other farmers who had wells in which they didn't have enough water. So what happened? These other farmers, they came and they asked, please, can we take some water from your well? So this farmer said, yes, you can take. So each one brought a bucket, and they kept filling water and they kept taking. So they kept taking the water. And one person came and he put a big motor and he started drawing a lot of water from that. So Radheshyam Prabhuji was saying taka 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 like that. He was operating a big machine and he pulled all the water out. And seeing this, other people also came. Oh, let's also put this big machine and take more water. So everyone started pumping out all the water. Now what happened? This well became really dry. So the water level went right up to the sand. Now what happened? This person realized, oh, what do I do now? So here Radheshyam Prabhuji was saying, now what can you do? You connect this well to a bigger reservoir of water. So then what happens? There's a constant supply of water. We are helping others who are bewildered by Maya. We are trying to help them. But at the same time, even we might go down at some point. We might also feel exhausted. We might also feel drained out of energy. We might also be overcome by Maya's influence. We might also get hurt at times when we shouldn't feel hurt. What is this? This is all just a temporary thing. Why am I getting so hurt? Why is something affecting me so much? So, it means that we have to fill up our well. We have to focus on our sadhana. We have to increase our chanting. We have to increase our reading. We have to increase our hearing. So the more we connect ourselves to the pleasure-giving reservoir, who is Shri Krishna, who are the devotees of Shri Krishna. When we try to connect ourselves to this unlimited reservoir of pleasure and energy and bhakti, then we can also keep our well full so that we don't get drained out. Now, to do this, what can we do? We have to immerse ourselves in Srimad Bhagavatam. So recently I was hearing a verse from Manakrit Prabhuji. So he was teaching this verse to one of his friends. So what is the verse? Sarva Vedanta Saram Hi Shri Bhagavatam Ishyate Tadra Samrita Triptasya Nanyatra Syadrati Kvachit. Srimad Bhagavatam is declared to be the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. One who has felt satisfaction from its nectarian mellow will never be attracted to any other literature. So by immersing ourselves in Srimad Bhagavatam, by constantly hearing, reading, what do? We keep our spiritual strength at a high energy level. And also, where do we get the spiritual strength from? From Krishna in particular. Sorry, holy name, and Lord Balaram and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are the mercy incarnation of Sri Krishna. So our spiritual strength comes from Lord Nityananda, who is the personification of the Guru Tattva. And our spiritual strength comes from Lord Balaram, who is the first expansion of Sri Krishna. So it is said, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Preme Mata Nityananda Kripa Avatara Uttama Adhama Kichu Nakare Vichara. That is, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, because he is intoxicated by and is in incarnation, imbibe and achieve. That is, no matter what anyone does to us, and no matter what situations we are put in, and no matter how helpless other conditioned souls are, we have to simply extend our mercy to them, just as Lord Nityananda Prabhu is extending his mercy to everyone. Which is what Lord Brahma is requesting Lord Shiva to do. You know, everyone is covered by Maya, but oh Lord Shiva, you are above all that. You know everything. So please be merciful and compassionate towards us. And there's this beautiful little bhajan which also teaches us that Vaishnava is one who feels the pain of others, who helps those in misery and does not let pride enter one's mind. So a Vaishnava is always merciful and compassionate. So that is our takeaway point for today. And we pray to Shri Radha Gopinath to please bless us with this mercy that is flowing from his heart unconditionally towards everyone.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे। पर दुखी उपकार करे तो ये पर दुखी उपकार करे तो ये मान अभिमान न आने रे। मान अभिमान न आने रे। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे। जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Any questions or comments, corrections? Thank you.